Hello and welcome to News Central TV. My name is Mazino Apil. The top stories at this hour. Defense Chief orders probe into deaths of Okuama leaders in military custody. Supreme Court dismisses suit by former presidential candidate Ambrose Owuru, fines him 5 million naira for filing frivolous case against President Tinubu. And death toll from drone strike on market in El Fasher, Western Sudan, rises to 38. Details coming up now. You're welcome. Let's begin by telling you that the Chief of Defense Staff General Christopher Musa has directed an investigation into the deaths of Okuama leaders James Oghoroko and Dennis Okugbaye while in Army custody. The two detained during a military operation in August reportedly died 6 days apart. The operation followed the killing of 17 soldiers on a peace mission between Okuama and Okoloba communities in March. Brigadier General Tukur Gusau, Director of Defense Information, confirmed the probe, stating the Nigerian Army 6th Division must submit findings by Monday. Gusau emphasized that the military remains committed to uncovering the truth, adding that for now the reports are mere allegations. In the meantime, the family of 81-year-old Dennis Okugbaye, treasurer of the Okuama community in Delta State, has revealed the circumstances of his death in military detention on the 10th of December 2024. They disclosed that they paid 140,000 naira to military officers for fuel to transport their ailing father from Port Harcourt to Asaba, only to be informed later that he had died en route. Pa Okugbaye's death follows that of the community's President General, Pa James Oghoroko, who also died in military detention. Both were among 6 community leaders detained without trial since August following the killing of 17 soldiers during a peace mission. Social critic Zik Bamre has condemned the governor's inaction, calling it a failure of leadership and institutional accountability. The Nigerian military has warned terrorist groups in the northwest to surrender or face the wrath of the military. The commander of the 1 Brigade headquarters in Gusau, the Zamfara state capital, Brigadier General Timothy Opurum, made this known to journalists in Gusau, the state capital, saying that the increasing reliance on impoverished or rather improvised explosive devices by the terrorists is a sign of desperation and tells of their final defeat. We have Emmanuel Bagudu with the report.
For the 3rd time in a week, Maru local government area of Zamfara state has experienced incidences of explosion, which has led to several casualties, a situation that raises a lot of questions about the current war against terrorism in the northwest. While the military says that there is no cause for alarm, they add that the terrorists are feeling the heat of the military firepower and have decided to adopt the use of IEDs.
The threat level in the joint operation area is further compounded with the emergence of the Islamic State in the Greater Sahel, terrorists known as the Lukrawas. The presence of these terrorists is believed to be a well-calculated move to leverage on the existing terrorism and banditry activities in the theater to expand their operations from the republics of Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, and Benin into Nigeria. The increased tempo of operation has enhanced security, including economic activities along main supply routes Gusau, Safe, Funtua, as well as other routes in the theater.
The terrorists has begun to use improvised explosive devices in recent times. And that is a sign of a defeatist. As when we are hitting them very hard and they felt that the pressure is becoming too much, they come up with other strategies, either to incapacitate the advancing force or to prevent us from approaching the enclaves.
Also in neighboring Katsina State, the commander of the 17th Brigade Nigerian Army, Brigadier General Babatunde Omopariola, noted that over 50 bandit groups with varying affiliations, agendas and tactics have been identified to be operating in the state, adding that the brigade has remained undeterred and have continued to work with other security agencies to deal with emerging threats.
We do have over 50 bandit groups operating the Katsina State. And these bandit groups have different leaderships, varied alliances, different kinds of motivations, different locales, and different tactics.
Citizens within the Northwest have pledged to cooperate with the military as they look forward to the defeat of these groups so they can return back to their life as normal. In Katsina, for News Central, I am Emmanuel Bagudu.
Attention to the courts. The Supreme Court in Abuja has dismissed a suit by former presidential candidate Ambrose Owuru of the Hope Democratic Party, fining him 5 million naira for filing a frivolous case against President Bola Tinubu. Justice Wani Abaji condemned Owuru's claims as vexatious and barred the court registry from accepting further frivolous filings from him. Owuru, who sought Tinubu's removal, alleging non-qualification and usurpation of office. The court criticized Owuru's conduct, rejecting his arguments as unconvincing. It also noted a previous 40 million naira fine imposed by the Court of Appeal on Owuru for similar actions. This latest ruling reinforces the judiciary's stance against baseless legal harassment. President Bola Tinubu is currently chairing a session of the Federal Executive Council meeting in Abuja. The meeting, which has in attendance cabinet ministers, is expected to make the far-reaching decision affecting the nation's economy and approve memos from ministers for key projects that will improve the well-being of citizens. We will be bringing you more on this in our subsequent bulletin. Now, Delta State Governor Sheriff Ogborovari has criticized President Bola Tinubu's economic policies, accusing them of causing unprecedented hunger, poverty, and unemployment, while turning Nigeria into the world's poverty capital. Ogborovari's reactions follow Senate Ovie Omoagege's endorsement of Tinubu's policies, which he claimed had increased federal allocations, boosted economic growth, and benefited farmers. The governor dismissed these claims, questioning the value of increased funds amidst inflation, naira devaluation, and mass poverty. Ogborovari also highlighted reports from the World Bank and IMF, which he said confirm the failure of Tinubu's policies, urging caution against adopting similar models in Delta State. The statement signed by his aide Felix Afo warns against policies that exacerbate economic hardships, describing them as unsuitable for Deltans. And in other news, ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government has approved the exit of the 3 countries of Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso from the Union from January the 29th, 2025. This was as the authority, chaired by President Bola Tinubu, met in Abuja to deliberate on recent events within the sub-region and proffer strategies aimed at improving the well-being of citizens within the community.
It was the 66th Ordinary Summit of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government. In attendance were heads of state from ECOWAS member countries. The president of the ECOWAS Commission gave highlights of the current state of the community.
On the economic front, member states have shown resilience amid global and regional challenges. While global growth has slowed to 3.2% this year, ECOWAS countries are expecting a slightly improved average growth rate of 3.8% compared to 3.6% in 2023. However, inflation and public debt levels remain significant concern, highlighting the urgency of fiscal prudence and efficient debt management.
President Bola Tinubu, the chair of the authority, reminded member states of the objective of the community and their quest to achieve integration and prosperity.
Our gathering here today reaffirmed the founding principles of our fathers and that of our organization, established to promote economic integration, peace and prosperity for our region through cooperation and solidarity.
The meeting then went into a closed-door session which lasted several hours. Upon resumption, agreement by the authority on the request by Mali, Niger and Burkina Faso to exit the sub-regional body was conveyed to all present.
The authority takes note of the notification by Burkina Faso, Republic of Mali, and the Republic of Niger of their decision to withdraw from ECOWAS. The authority acknowledges that in accordance with the provisions of Article 91 of the revised ECOWAS Treaty, the three countries will officially cease to be members of ECOWAS from 29 January 2025.
The authority has also set a space of 6 months as a transitional period during which the countries can be readmitted back into the Union. In Abuja for News Central, I am Amadine Uyi.
And in the meantime, the military regime of Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger have announced that their three countries are a visa-free zone for all nationals of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS. This was disclosed in a statement read out on Malian public television by Mali's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Abdoulaye Diop. He, however, said that member states of the Confederation of Sahel States reserve the right to refuse entry into their territory to any national of the Sahel states who falls into the category of inadmissible immigrants.
La Confédération des États du Sahel, AES, est un espace sans visa pour tout ressortissant des États membres de la Communauté économique des États de l'Afrique de l'Ouest, CEDEAO. 2. Les ressortissants de la CEDEAO ont le droit d'entrer, de circuler, de résider, de s'établir et de sortir sur le territoire des États membres de la Confédération des États du Sahel dans le respect des textes nationaux en vigueur. 3. Toutefois, les États membres de la Confédération des États du Sahel se réservent le droit, conformément à leurs lois et règlements, de refuser l'entrée sur leur territoire à tout ressortissant de la CEDEAO entrant dans la catégorie des immigrants inadmissibles.
The media office of former Kogi State Governor Yahaya Bello has dismissed the report by a blog as fake and malicious. The blog claimed Bello made disparaging remarks about President Bola Tinubu, describing the report as a product of a sick mind. Bello's media director, Ohiare Michael, clarified that no informed Nigerian would take the claim seriously, noting that court proceedings involving the former governor have not commenced beyond plea submissions. Bello reaffirmed his respect for President Tinubu and committed to the APC. The media office has alerted security agencies to track down the report's authors, vowing legal action against the purveyors of such misinformation. And now we take a break. And when we get back, 1 dead, others injured in Lagos road accident. We have the details after. Welcome back. Now, an accident involving a J5 Ford bus and a Mercedes-Benz truck happened along the 3rd Mainland Bridge on Monday morning in Lagos. According to the Lagos State Traffic Management Authority, the accident has resulted in the death of 1, leaving 4 others injured. The LASMA Director, Public Affairs and Enlightenment Department, Adebayo Taufik, in a statement on X on Monday, disclosed that LASMA officials led by General Manager Olalekan Bakayoki arrived promptly at the scene and began rescue operations. The statement gave further details of the tragic incident, reporting that all affected were transported to the General Hospital on Lagos Island for medical attention. Additionally, findings suggest that the J5 bus experienced brake failure while traveling at high speed, resulting in the collision with the Mercedes-Benz truck. Now to health. People often get ill and go to the hospital for medical attention. For many, the first point of Medicare is the tertiary facility, while some consider the secondary health care are close to their houses. Only a handful of those chose the primary healthcare centers either because of financial constraints and for children's vaccinations. In this special report, News Central's Chinwe Ogele takes a look at the primary healthcare centers across the state and the services and how effective they are.
Different communities in Umuahia North local government area of Abia State. Some are in good condition, while others fall short of what a standard health facility should be. With over 1,000 primary health centers in Abia State, Medicare should be very easily accessed in every community.
Health posts, we have health clinics, and the primary health care centers. So there are three categories. We can boast of 292 World Health Centers that are well equipped.
We have free delivery, free ANC. Even Abia State government provides malaria drugs, and we give, if we test the person and it is positive, we give free malaria drugs here.
As the only stage of healthcare service that is free of charge in the state, many people are expected to key into the program. I even got a chance to be tested for malaria virus free of charge in one of the centers using the testing kit. Those who subscribe to the health centers attest to its usefulness and efficiency in times of emergencies.
Now my baby is sick, and immediately I brought him here. Our nurse explained everything to me, which I understand very perfectly.
When I fall sick, I first consult the primary health center, in my community.
In communities such as Nkataibeku, Ajata, Okuta, there are just a handful of those who have enrolled for the free primary health care. Not having enough manpower spread across the primary health facilities is a major challenge.
Our governor is addressing the issue of infrastructure, is addressing the issue of equipment, but where we have a problem is the Jagba syndrome and the human resources for health. And I want to believe that if we're able to fix the other two that we are working on now, this other one won't be a problem.
Recently, Governor Alex Oti disclosed that Abia State emerged second in the Southeast Zone in the Primary Healthcare Leadership Challenge and won the UNICEF prize of $400,000.
The first time we're winning that prize. Last year we also came second. We are hoping that in the next year we will maybe be the first position.
Hopefully, these funds will be channeled to the rehabilitation of some of these dilapidated centers in some communities, construction of staff quarters, provision of security, procurement of more equipment, and recruitment of doctors and nurses. In Umuahia for News Central, Chinwe Ogele.
Now, amid the ongoing housing crisis affecting the nation, GTEX Lands, a subsidiary of GTEX Holdings, has unveiled a pioneering initiative aimed at fostering transparency and accountability within Nigeria's real estate industry. This groundbreaking move introduces a one-time buyback refund program offering clients the opportunity to sell their lands back to the company. News Central's Ibalani Amani reports on this development.
Nigeria's housing sector has long been plagued by challenges, including a significant shortage of affordable housing units estimated to be around 17 million. This shortage has led to a surge in housing prices, making it difficult for many Nigerians to own homes. Furthermore, the country's real estate sector has faced issues with transparency and professionalism hindering its growth and potential. In a bold move to address these challenges, GTEX Lands, a subsidiary of GTEX Holdings, a leading global real estate firm, is set to enhance transparency and professionalism in the sector. At a press briefing, the company reviewed plans to initiate a buyback plan for all lands it has ever sold due to clients owing the company billions.
We've had situations where, as a result of the tough economy, we've seen situations where people, as against the contract they have with us when they did, whether they bought land or they bought houses, are defaulting, and many are having reason to want refunds, and we've decided to just announce a general buyback. You send us the original document that was sent to you. It will be a 120-day or working day from the day you sent us the original document that the buyback will take effect, and it will be staggered payment, as most customers also paid in a staggered way, right? And we're open to that, and that's what we're communicating. But 30 days from now, if anyone is still owing us, they don't have land with us anymore.
Noting that the buyback plans aims to resolve financial complexities amongst others, the company brews out further plans it has for the future.
We'll start with one estate. We have 30 estates, so this will probably take another 5 years to complete all the 30 estates, and even new estates we are launching as well. We started actually a production company where we're going to be doing YouTube series and movies into the future. And lastly, we discussed about the food bank we're starting both in Houston as well as in Nigeria, Lagos, Nigeria.
In addition to the buyback plan, the chairman of GTExt Holdings, Dr. Stephen Akitayo, launched a book titled Global Real Estate Handbook and the ABC of America's Real Estate Investment, a site providing valuable insight into the dealings within the real estate sector in Nigeria. Proceeds from the book will be used to lift people from poverty.
The two books are being launched today, and we are also going to be having a wonderful time, and the profit is going towards our Water Foundation, the Simacta Foundation, and the food bank. We call it Mercy Food Bank. We're working on. We are open to donations and support towards the food bank. Our vision is in 50 years, we want to feed 1 billion people all over the world.
With its buyback plan and the launch of these books, GTExt lends hopes to set a new standard for the industry, one that prioritizes accountability, transparency, and professionalism. In Lagos 4 News Central, I am Igbalani Omoni.
And in breaking news, the 47.9 trillion naira 2025 budget presentation to the joint session of the National Assembly by President Bola Tinubu, earlier fixed for Tuesday, December 17th, has been shifted to Wednesday, December 18th. Now, it was gathered from top management staff of the National Assembly. It was also gathered that an official statement on the postponement should be issued within the next few hours. The Senate President Godswill Akpabio had, during the announcement last Thursday during plenary, announced that President Tinubu will present the 2025 budget on Tuesday. And now coming up, death toll rises to 38 in El Fasher after drone attack. We have the details after this break. Welcome back. ECOWAS has endorsed the creation of a special tribunal for Gambia to prosecute crimes committed during Yahya Jammeh's 22-year dictatorship. In a statement on Sunday, the bloc emphasized the court's role in ensuring justice for human rights violations between July 1994 and January 2017. This marks the first collaboration between ECOWAS and a member state to establish such a tribunal. Jammeh's regime was notorious for severe rights abuses and misappropriation of state funds, according to rights groups and Gambia's government. Jammeh fled the country in 2017 after losing to current President Adama Barrow in a landmark election. The tribunal aims to deliver accountability for the victims of his oppressive rule. We now head to the east of the continent, where the death toll from a drone strike on a market in Al Fasher, Western Sudan, has risen to 38. This was revealed by a local NGO, the Coordination of Resistance Committee. The attack, attributed to the paramilitary rapid support forces, targeted the Al-Lad Al-Rif neighborhood market Earlier reports by state news agency SUNA confirmed over 15 fatalities, with many others injured. The RSF has not commented on the incident. Since clashes erupted in April 2023 between the RSF and Sudanese armed forces, more than 28,700 people have been killed and over 14 million displaced, according to international organizations. The violence continues to devastate the region, deepening Sudan's humanitarian crisis. Taiwan has received 38 advanced Abrams battle tanks from the United States, marking the island's first new tanks in 30 years, according to the Defense Ministry. In response, China urged the U.S. to halt arms supplies to Taiwan and support for Taiwan's independence forces. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Lin Jian made the comments during a broadcast. He also stressed China's desire for healthy and stable ties with South Korea following Seoul's Constitutional Court's action against impeached President Yoon Suk-yeol. Despite strong trade relations, the two countries have long differed politically, with China backing North Korea, while South Korea remains a key U.S. ally.
中方坚决反对美台的军事联系和美对台出售武器的立场是一贯的、明确的。我们敦促美方恪守一个中国原则和中美3个联合公报，特别是817公报的规定，停止武装台湾，停止纵容支持台独势力以武谋独。台湾当局以武谋独、以洋谋独的图谋，注定不可能得逞。中方将坚定捍卫国家主权、安全和领土完整，推动中韩关系健康稳定发展，符合双方的共同利益。中方对韩的政策是一贯的，保持着稳定性。希望韩方与中方相向而行，为深化两国的友好合作和战略合作伙伴关系做出积极努力。
In the meantime, South Korea's ruling party chief has announced his resignation following the impeachment of President Yoon Suk-yeol over his brief attempts to impose martial law. Han Dong-hoon, addressing a televised press conference, admitted fearing bloodshed if martial law had not been lifted promptly. President Yoon, suspended by parliament on Saturday, faces investigations into alleged insurrection and abuse of power by prosecutors, police, and anti-corruption investigators. He has refused multiple summons for questioning, prompting potential legal action. South Korea's Constitutional Court has begun proceedings to decide within 6 months whether to uphold the impeachment. If found guilty, Yoon and his associates could face life imprisonment or the death penalty. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Han Duck-soo is serving an interim leader with fresh election required in Yoon's removal if Yoon's removal is confirmed.
그날 밤 계엄을 해제하지 못했다면 다음 날 아침부터 거리로 나온 우리 시민들과 우리 젊은 군인들 사이에 유혈 사태가 벌어졌을 수 있습니다. 그날 밤 저는 그런 일을 막지 못할까 봐 너무나도 두려웠습니다. 아무리 우리 당에서 배출한 대통령이 한 것이라도 우리가 군대를 동원한 불법 계엄을 옹호하는 것처럼 오해받는 것은 산업화와 민주화를 동시에 해낸 이 위대한 나라와 그 국민을 보수의 정신을 우리 당의 빛나는 성취를 배신하는 겁니다.
Israel's foreign ministry has announced that it would close its embassy in Ireland, citing what it called Dublin's extreme anti-Israeli policies as a reason. This move further strains already tense relations between the two countries. It follows a series of actions by Ireland, including recognizing Palestine as a state and supporting an International Court of Justice case accusing Israel of committing genocide in Gaza. Ireland has also been one of the strongest critics of Israel's military response to the October 7, 2023 Hamas attacks, which triggered the ongoing Gaza conflict. Irish Prime Minister Simon Harris says he regrets Israel's decision, but adds that Ireland cannot be silenced, emphasizing their value for human rights and international law as a nation.
The diplomacy of distraction. And I think it is deeply regrettable that they took that decision. They have every right to take that decision to close the embassy. I'd rather it didn't happen. We will continue to engage diplomatically. But nobody's going to silence Ireland. We know right from wrong. We value human rights. We respect international law. We expect international law to be applied consistently. We've been crystal clear in relation to the need for hostages to be released, in our condemnation of Hamas as a despicable terrorist organisation that offers no bright future to anybody in Palestine or in the region. We condemn all attacks on Israel. We say Israel has a right to live in peace and security and a right to defend itself. You can say all of those things and still say the next thing, which is that what the Netanyahu government is doing to innocent civilians in Gaza and in the West Bank is utterly despicable and should be condemned by all.
U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris has pledged to continue our work in 2025 despite losing the presidential election to Republican Donald Trump. Speaking at the Democratic National Committee's holiday reception in Washington, Harris emphasized hope and determination for the future, signaling her commitment to the Democratic Party's mission moving forward. The remarks come as the Biden-Harris administration prepares to transition out of office following a contentious election cycle. Harris' speech reflects the Democratic Party's resolve to push ahead with its agenda and maintain its influence in shaping the nation's future despite the electoral setback.
In the new year, we will continue our work with hope, with determination, and with joy. Remember, our country is worth fighting for, and our spirit will not be defeated. And I promise you, I will be with you every step of the way. Thank you.
The one thing I've always believed about public service, and especially about the presidency, is the importance of asking yourself, have we left the country better shape than we found it? Today, I can say with every fiber of my being, with all my heart, the answer to that question is a resounding yes. Yes.
Business now. Nigeria's headline inflation rate rose to 34.6% in November 2024, up from 33.88% in October, marking the third consecutive month of rising inflation, according to data released by the National Statistics Agency. Month-on-month, the inflation rate stood at 2.64%, underscoring ongoing price surges across goods and services. After easing briefly in July and August, inflation resumed its upward trajectory in September, driven by the lingering effects of the Naira devaluation and successive petrol price hikes. These factors have intensified the country's worst cost of living crisis in decades, exacerbating hardships in Africa's most populous nation. In response, the Central Bank of Nigeria has implemented 6 interest rate hikes this year, totaling 875 basis points, in a bid to rein in inflationary pressures. And Axis Bank has finalized a binding agreement to acquire 100% of Bidvest Bank, a financial service provider based in South Africa. This strategic move is designed to enhance Axis Bank's presence in South African market and reinforce its status as a leading Pan-African financial institution. The transaction is anticipated to be completed in the second half of 2025, pending regulatory approvals. Nabila Mohammed, a banking sector analyst at Chapel Hill, Denham, shared her insight on Business Edge regarding the implications of this acquisition for the bank and whether it is on track to achieve its goal of becoming one of the top 5 banks on the continent and establishing a universal payments gateway to dominate international trade and inter-African payments.
We're looking at the South African one to solidify their presence. We as we know, Access Bank is already present in South Africa, but with the acquisition of Bidvest, it gives them that edge because that is a local bank that is situated and sort of really understands the business terrain in that space. So that is one. Secondly, we know that Access is on a journey to being Africa's gateway to the world, and trade is one key area that connects continents, regions. So if the group is aiming to provide that enabling platform that will encourage and enhance trading opportunities, I believe that this expansion or these acquisitions that we're seeing the group embark upon is going to reap that benefits for them. And as we know, it is part of their strategic cycle that is spanning 2023 to 2027. This is still part of the investment phase. So that is why we're seeing these activities coming out. We've seen them acquire the fourth largest bank in Mauritius. They recently expanded to Malta, as you rightly mentioned. It is part of their strategic cycle, and this phase is the investment phase, and that is why we're seeing most of these activities being announced or these disclosures being made by the group with regards to the expansion and acquisitions. Them taking those steps. They have also disclosed that they are willing to enter the North African market, and the
Nigeria's economic landscape in 2024 has been marked by a complex mix of challenges and opportunities. Although the government has introduced reforms to stimulate growth, various factors still impede progress. Initiatives such as the removal of subsidies and charges, or rather changes in tax policy, reflect the government's desire to reshape the economic framework. However, concerns remain about how these changes will affect living standards and business operations. Key sectors, including energy, agriculture, and technology, present significant opportunities, but achieving success depends on effective governance and collaboration with the private sector. Basil Abia, co-founder of Veriv Africa, shared his thoughts on this topic during his appearance on Business Edge.
Because if you look at the numbers, we're currently doing 3.22%. We will find out the eventual inflation rate, well, not inflation rate in that sense, but what I'm trying to say is we'll find out the eventual GDP growth rate for Q4 sometime early next year. So that's when we'll be able to know the Q4 for 2024. But projections from FDC, Financial Derivatives Company, is that we're expecting a 3.22% for Q4 2024. FDC's Financial Derivatives Company's projections, and juxtaposing it with projections from the, not projections, but from actual data from the MBS, as well as a juxtaposition with that of Veriv Africa's, we can say that the best case scenario projections for GDP growth rates for Q1 2025 is actually a slight reduction or a slight decrease from what is expected in Q4 2024. So
we're going to break now. When we get back, sports. Sports now. South African blind football team has set off for the International Blind Football Tournament in Russia, taking place from the 18th to 20th of this month. This groundbreaking journey not only showcases the unwavering spirit and determination of the remarkable athletes, but also highlights a significant step forward for inclusivity in sports on a global stage. News Central's Bongani Sesiba has more.
In a world where sight is often taken for granted, a remarkable story is unfolding. The first blind football team from South Africa is jetting off for a groundbreaking journey to Russia, where they will compete in an international tournament against some of the biggest teams in the world. For these young boys, this is not just about football, it's about breaking barriers and showing the world that disability doesn't mean inability.
This trip is about the first international blind soccer games happening in Russia with BRICS countries. That's Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, Kazakhstan, Turkey as well included. And we started blind soccer 3 years ago in South Africa. So this has been, I guess, one of the longest running teams in the country. And so they were looking for representation to represent the country, and they decided to call me up as coach and call us up as well.
This team, composed of talented athletes from across South Africa, has trained hard to get here, overcoming personal and societal challenges to pursue their dreams, and today they are heading to a bigger stage to showcase their talent.
I'm very exhilarated. I'm so excited, and overall I'm honored to have been afforded the opportunity to represent my country nationally.
This is more than just a team. They've built a family. Each player has something unique to bring to the game. But how do visually impaired athletes play football? I asked.
Blind soccer is a five-a-side version of soccer, and all the players except for the goalkeeper will be blindfolded, and basically you just listen to the ball has sounds, and yeah, that's it. That's how you play. You basically have to listen to the ball, talk to your fellow players, and try to score as much as you can while defending, of course. That's the game.
For families and friends, they're bustling with pride, knowing their children are breaking barriers and redefining what's possible.
Ngizizwa ngijabule kakhulu wabona umntwana usulile thina abazali izinyembezi.
A call for support, as this is not just about football, it's about fostering a culture of inclusivity where every child, regardless of ability, has a chance to participate and excel in sports.
To Africa, I just want to say this is big for us. Please look out for our team. Please send well wishes to them. They need to come back with the trophies.
As these athletes take to the skies, the team carries not just their bags, but the dreams of countless young athletes back home. The road to Russia is more than just a journey. It's a testament of strength, courage, and unity. At the OR Tambo International Airport in Johannesburg, for News Central, Wangani Siziba.
That's all the news this hour. But before we go, let's take another look at some of the major stories. The defense chief has ordered probe into deaths of Okuama leaders in military custody. The Supreme Court has dismissed suit by former presidential candidate Ambrose Owuru, fining him 5 million naira for filing frivolous case against President Tinubu. And we also told you that death toll from drone strike on market in El Fasher, Western Sudan, has risen to 38. Remember now, you can catch the news live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and of course on YouTube. Many thanks for watching. My name is Mazino Appeal.